Good evening and salutations, my YNR fans. My goodness, I really had to think about that for a minute. You know what? Let's start off with Victoria and Ashlyn for a minute. So Victoria is still feeling guilty about the car crash, and Ashlyn comes in and he's like, "Oh, I want to sit there and check on you, make sure that you're okay." And Victoria's like, "Yo, I want none of that." Now, to be fair, she says that she doesn't want any parts of Ashlyn, but in reality, like she said, she can't turn off her feelings. And, on top of the fact that she, still is in love with him, he also saved her life. So she got all that going on. So you can see, Ashlyn trying to work his magic and, Victoria trying to, I don't want to sit there and say fight it, but I guess in a way kind of fight it. So they're going back and forth. Now, there is one point. Now, granted, I stopped watching it for like a little bit. But this dude literally came out and was like, yeah, in the beginning it was a scam, but, eventually it led to something more, which I did say. I did say that. And I did feel like that too. I was like, it might have started off with him just wanting to, scheme his way into the company and whatever, but there was clear feelings there after a while. Um, it's pretty much just he pretty much all but admitted that he just faked his cancer and everything. In that one breath. If even if you didn't, you missed the episodes I did, he literally just admitted that he faked everything. Now Chance comes over, and he got questions. He got questions, and he wants Victoria to sit there and walk through the events that happened, and Ashton's there to make sure that this interview doesn't turn into a witch hunt. Um, so Victoria, kind of recalls the events that happened, and a couple of things I took note of was that when it was foggy, two, she was on the phone. Now, with that being said, her being on the phone can be seen as her being distracted. Also, her emotions, could compromise her ability to drive, which can also hint that it was her fault. Um, Now Ashley does chime in, and Ashley's like, listen, I was behind her the whole time. I wanted to make sure she was okay. And when I was, looking at her, I saw a headlight coming towards her. I saw a ray, in her, in our lane coming towards her. Um, and, Chance pretty much is like, it seems kind of unlikely. As a cop, you're trained to, be able to drive in many different weather conditions. Well, Ashton's like, yo, listen, that's what happened. I'm sticking to it. So, Chance is like, listen, if I get any questions, I'll come back or whatever. And I'm thinking at this point, I'm like, I might want to get a lawyer. Lawyer. Um, Now, I'm going to be honest. Up until this point, I did blame Victoria for this crash. I did. I looked at it and I'm like, you were behind the road. I mean, you were on the road. You were on the phone talking. You were crying. You were upset. The fact that she was so upset and she was crying, she shouldn't have been on the road in the first place. On top of that, she was on the phone. So I looked at the whole thing like, mm, you did cause this. But Chance comes over and talks to Sharon after he found out, after he got the autopsy report. And one second, it's weird. So after he got the autopsy report, he came to Sharon. And he pretty much told Sharon that, the cause of death wasn't the accident. It was a heart attack. And, Sharon is like, that doesn't really add up. He was young and he was healthy. And I'm looking at that like, Yeah, I mean, I haven't really watched the show that long or watched this character, but a heart attack? Now, don't get me wrong, it is entirely possible, you know, not just in the soap opera, but in reality, that people, you know, no matter what age, can have a heart attack. It's just one of those unfortunate things that happens. Um, but I don't know. I'm not gonna lie. I feel like it's foul play. I really do. Unfortunately, I guess they must, because of the road being so wet and everything like that. They might not have been able to look at the road and be like, okay, so you know Ray was in Victoria's Lane when the whole crash happened. Um, Also, I didn't actually watch the episode, so I have no idea how this whole thing went about. I should probably actually at least watch that part. But yeah, so the whole thing comes down to Ray having a heart attack, and that's what caused the crash. He had a heart attack. He must have been, with that when that happened, he was driving on the wrong side of the road, and you know that's what caused it. I feel like they may close the book on that for a while because they probably want Ashland to stick around, but I feel like Ashlyn is somehow involved in that. I feel the same way that Billy and Nate feel about it. Like they both feel that Ashlyn has something to do with it. Something that Nate said. Whenever Ashlyn is involved, trouble is not far behind. Um, Now speaking of Billy, he's concerned about Victoria. He's been trying to call her, text, nothing. Lily comes in there and Lily's like, what, listen, maybe she just needs space. She talks about her own experience with, causing an accident, the death and stuff like that, and it's a lot. It's a lot. It's like a living hell. It's a living hell, literally. And so she's like, she just needs space. And she also told Billy, when he talks about Ashlyn and everything like that, that, Lily's like, this isn't your fight. I get that you two share children and things of that nature, but beyond that, this is the Newman's problem. You know, let them handle that. We got our own thing to do. Um, as far as going to the meeting and just their future in general. Now, Nate gets a tie from Elena. I'm gonna be completely honest. I'm like, I get that he got a new tie for his new position and everything like that, and it's a celebration thing. But I'm like, come on, seriously? I mean, you got this man a tie. Like, I mean, that's like, it's like, oh, what are you gonna give your dad on Father's Day? A tie. What are you gonna give him on his birthday? A tie. Really? A tie? I don't know why, but it brings me back to that episode of Married with Children when I think like it's his birthday. Yeah, I think it's his birthday. And his children give him a tie. And they both get him the same tie. And then he takes it out the box and he holds it up to his chest. It's just the exact same tie. And he's just like, no one sees a problem with this. Um, I'm gonna be honest, Amani is annoying. I don't know if she's just been annoying, but I know she is annoying now. And she's not there talking about Nate and everything like that. And I think Lily is like, yo, you do realize that he has a girlfriend, right? And she's like, yeah, well, there's nothing wrong. There's no harm with a little flirting. I'm like, yeah, there is. Why don't you just go out and get your own goddamn man? I don't understand that. I mean, you look cute. Why don't you just go for anyone else? Instead, you want to sit there and cause drama and friction in a new job position. After she just said prior to that, oh, I'm not going to sit there and overstep by, talking out of turn or whatever. But I have no problem sitting there flirting with a man that's, engaged with another, that already has a girlfriend, that's already in a relationship. And to top it all off, that you all work together. No, Monty, I don't see anything wrong with that. So anyway, they get this whole meeting started, and it's a bit of friction a little bit with some of the things that they want to do. One of the things that Nate wants to do is to throw a celebrating party to kind of usher in a new company. But Davon got some problems with that, talking about I think his dad or something like that wasn't really like that, and he was more reserved, and he kind of wants to keep the company like kind of not so extravagant or whatever. But Lily's like no, and I think she gives some sort of reasons, and um, honestly, to tell you the truth, I'm not gonna lie, some of the meeting was just boring as hell. But I think in the end, Devon kind of agreed to Lily's terms as far as like, throwing a party and just some of the changes. Um, yeah, that was pretty much about it. I don't know about this merger. I feel like Devon still got some reservations, and if I'm going to be honest, just even going about this meeting, and I get that meetings, there's a lot of times where everything isn't going to go your way. There's going to be a lot of friction going on. I mean, that's the whole point of meetings, is to kind of get that friction out the way. But I just feel like in some ways that Avon, I don't know if he was ever really on board. I feel like in some sort of ways that Lily more or less kind of strong on him into it. But I guess time will tell because I feel like there's going to be a lot more friction between both of their personalities. Lily comes across as very more adventurous, where Devon comes across as more reserved. So that that seems like a great recipe. Adam comes over to see Sharon, and he's like, he wanted to kind of wait to the coast is clear and that their family wasn't really involved to kind of give, Adam a lot of grief. He comes over there. I'm going to be completely honest. He um, was very much needed to be there with Sharon because he allowed her to really grieve and really get a lot of the stuff that was off of her chest and out of her, out of her heart and everything like that. Um, one of the things she said was she was so tired of people babying her. This is what I said before yesterday when I was getting so irritated with people trying to manage her grief. And, I was not there reading the comments. I remember somebody was saying that she did have a nervous breakdown or psychotic breakdown. And I get that. They want to make sure that she's, you know, a lot more, like, that she's not going to have another one. Okay? I get that. But you can keep an eye on her without feeling like you have to manage her. And that was one of the things that she was very frustrated about. Um, Adam was just there for her, and she got to sit there and cry. She got to sit there and laugh, and I think that he was, like I said, much needed. So he got there, he came, and then after Chance got there, he left. Said his condolences, and then he was pretty much out. So, in reality, it was a good idea he listened to Sally. Because Victor was like, no, 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 I don't think that's a good idea. She has enough family, enough support, and she's probably feeling a little overwhelmed. And I guess in that respect, I can understand where Victor was coming from, but in the end, it's a tough one. It's a tough one. You don't know what to do. You don't know what to say. Um, you don't want to sit there. I've been in positions where I don't know what to say. But then I feel like my absence and not saying anything was actually a lot worse than if I actually have said something or anything. So, either way, it's just, there's no right answer to what Adam was dealing with as far as should he go over there or should he not. Now, with that being said, I think that's about it. And here's the thing about this episode. It wasn't really great. Okay? It wasn't really great. The Adam and Sharon stuff was pretty good. Um, But I mean, for the most part, it wasn't really great. The thing that I did like about this episode, it wasn't terrible either. But one thing I did like about this episode is that they kept the cast small. Wasn't really a lot of, a lot of times, even with GH, and this show does it too, is that they're just throwing a bunch of characters. And sometimes they're not really doing much of anything. They're just kind of there. I mean, Elena was there, but she was there with Nate, so she had a purpose. And I like these episodes where they're just more or less very self-contained. It's not just easier on me. It's just easier to follow and just really get more of a story from these characters. I kind of wish they did that more often. That they kind of follow Day's example, because for the most part, Days will keep it very self-contained. That they have a large cast, but with that being said, they tend to scale it down a little bit more, and it makes the episode a lot more enjoyable. I feel like that's about it for the most part. So yeah, with that being said, I'm gonna go. I want to thank you for watching. Be safe. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below, and I will see you in the next video.